Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to go about this assignment, which is C8 for e-commerce class. This is the final assignment of the marking period and I want to make sure that everybody's able to complete it successfully. So the worksheet for this assignment is right here, and these are the 4 tasks you need to go about. The first is to create a spreadsheet of your data from the survey that y'all made last week. Once you make a spreadsheet, then you're going to create at least 5 charts using the survey data. And I want you to try to find patterns and analyze this data that you've gotten. After that, you're to read this article, survey errors, and how to address them. I also have Google Slides on this if you want to take a look at it in the assignment page. And then you're supposed to complete this vocabulary chart. Lastly, you're supposed to identify which errors and mistakes you've made and explain what you did. So this video, I think I'm just going to go over the first 2 steps, which is how do you create the spreadsheet from your data, and how do you create the charts that I'm asking for so that you can look for patterns. So first I'm going to give you an example of a survey. Okay, this is just a random Google form. Just disregard all the information. But this is the editor view of creating a Google form, which all of you should have done by now. And I need to create the responses from this form into a spreadsheet so I can use the data and try to analyze and interpret it in my own way. So I'm going to go to the response tab at the very top, and to create this data into a spreadsheet, well, as you can see, Google already makes some charts for you. You could use some of these charts, but if you want to do better analysis, it's always best to create into a spreadsheet and make your own charts. Okay. It is worthwhile to look at these though if you find that some of the data here has some information and patterns that you want to take a look at. You can always look at these graphs and then copy the charts if you'd like to and paste it onto the spreadsheet that you're about to make if you think that these are good charts for you. Okay, but anyways, let's go back to making a spreadsheet. So I'm in the responses, and to make a spreadsheet, you're supposed to click this green button here that will convert everything to a spreadsheet for you. So if you click this, it's supposed to ask you if you want to create a chart or whatever it says. So you're just supposed to say yes. Okay, this is from my previous class. I'm just gonna give you a spreadsheet that I have from my other student. Okay, so let's imagine this is what your data shows up as. Okay, I'm using an example of a student that I had last year. He did his survey on whether or not students would pay other people to do their homework. So his company idea was he was going to provide a service where you could pay someone to do your homework for you. So I'm imagining I'm this student. I have this data and I want to see if there's any patterns from the information that I've gathered. As you can see, he was able to get 39 students take a survey. And from these 39, you want to sift through the data. So first you want to have some ideas in mind and have some like hypotheses or guesses, if you will, of what you think the data is going to draw. And my guess, or one thing I want to figure out is what grade levels are students who always do their homework, right? Because these are 2 questions that I had. What grade are people in? So I'm looking at some demographic data and I'm pairing it with some questions that I made to try to understand my target market better, right? So my target market, I don't know if they're going to be freshmen, sophomore, juniors, or seniors. And I want to determine like who should I sell my product more to, right? Freshmen, sophomore, juniors, or seniors. So to figure that out, maybe I want to know which grade level does their homework most often and which grade level never does their homework. Okay, so to sift through the data, you need to first pick the 2 rows that you want. So I'm going to pick this row, what grade are you in, and then the other row, how often do you do your homework? So I have to select both rows. I have a mouse, so I'm just going to press and hold both. If you're on a laptop, you'll have to use 2 fingers and double click them. let's say these rows are not, I'm sorry, these columns are not next to each other. Maybe I want to determine grade level versus would you pay someone to do your homework? So if I want to do these two rows, what I do is I'd click one and then on my keyboard I press Control and then I'd click the other side as well. So now you have two rows, click, click. Okay, but I'm just going to do these two. So I'm just going to press these two. I'm going to copy them. So I'm going to right click and press copy, or you can press Control C on your keyboard, Control C. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have to make a new sheet. So this little plus sign here, you click the plus sign and it creates a blank sheet for you. And I want to paste those two columns for you, okay? Because I want to make a chart off this. Maybe two charts, maybe three charts, who knows? Okay, so now I want to sort this data and determine who always does their homework. So first I have to make this into a filter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click row 1. And then there's this filter button right here, create a filter. You click this. And as you can see, there's these arrows. So now you can alphabetize and sort the data. So I'm going to do ABC on the how often people do homework. And I want to determine, okay, who always does homework? Who never does homework? Who occasionally and often or sometimes do homework? So I think I want to figure out who always does their homework. So the always is right here, and then it's a mix of the grade levels. So I'm going to highlight this part because I want to determine like what grade levels are students who always do their homework. I go to insert and then I go to chart. Okay, bam, and then it makes the chart for me. I could change the chart type. I could do a pie chart, which is suggested. I could do these bar graphs if I'd like to. I kind of like the pie chart the best because it gets percentages. And then if I want to relabel this graph, I'm going to put, I can relate it at that. So grades, no. So I'm going to relate it of grade levels of students who always do their homework, right? Because I'm looking at always and then the different grade levels. And then what I'm finding is that freshmen, 38% of people who surveyed, 38% of freshmen always do their homework. Okay. 50% of juniors, 23% seniors, and sophomores are only 21%. So I got freshmen who do their homework more often than other groups. Okay. So that's how I can make a chart. Okay, so if I wanted to show you again, let's say I want to sort it by grade level this time. Uh-oh, that messes everything up. Okay, so what happens if you sift the data, okay, then you're always going to see the changes. That's why you have to make a new sheet for every time you do another thing of data. So let's go back to the form and let's say I want to figure out who would pay to do homework and also their grades. So I'm going to click this one and then press Control. So I pick these two. I press Control C on my keyboard. I make a new sheet again, and then I paste it. Okay, now I'm going to make the filter again. Okay, I'm going to bring this out a little bit. And I want to know, would you pay someone to do their homework? Okay, so I'm going to sift through, and then I have all these people who said yes to that they would pay to do their homework. I want to figure out like how many people would pay to do their homework. So let's see. So I click this row, I go to insert, I go to chart, bam. Okay, and then I go grade levels of students who'd pay someone to do their homework, excuse me. And then as you can see, surprisingly freshmen are more likely, from the other chart, I realized freshmen are more likely to do their homework, but at the same time, they're most likely to pay someone to do their homework. Okay, that's kind of interesting data. Right, so you're just creating charts, trying to figure out information, see if there's any pattern, okay, and all the other good stuff. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. So you got to play with the data. I don't expect you to interpret it correctly. But just know that this might be how a marketing person would think. Okay, so that's how you would make sheets. And I have a bunch of different sheets that determines different data that I've like kind of messed with over some time. Okay, so now that you know how to make a sheet and you messed around with it, Try to find some random patterns. Now you want to share this sheet with Ms. Nguyen. So how do you share this to the assignment page? You click the share button, okay? And then at the bottom, please don't email me because it's just going to send to a billion people. What I want you to do is copy the link over here. You want to change this to anybody with the link. So anyone with this link should be able to view it. I want you to copy this link and then you press done. Now that you're done, you go back to the assignment page. So this is pretend this is the assignment page. This is not the correct assignment, but this is what it's supposed to look like. And right here, you go to add or create, you click link, and then you paste the link. Add the link, and then bam, my spreadsheet shows up here. Okay, and then you could turn this link in, so I should be able to see the link. I mean the spreadsheet. Okay. So I don't, this is you learning to manipulate the data and sift through the data and create a filter. So it's yours to play with, but I want you to at least try making 5 charts, learn how to do the filtering and all that other good stuff. So you get this experience of trying to interpret data. Okay. Let's go back to the assignment page. So I showed you task number 1, create the spreadsheet, and then task number 2, which is creating the charts. Okay. And then for number 3 and 4, you're supposed to read this article. So I could click open this article. You're learning about survey error and how oftentimes surveys have a lot of errors in them. The data is always, the data can be misrepresented. There could be bias in the responses. There could be issues with the sampling. There could be instrument errors. Many of you are going to encounter these different types of errors. So I want you to get familiar with the different vocabulary words. And what you're supposed to do for this assignment is first you're going to define the errors. I want to make sure that you understand which each error means. Like what is survey error? And then you're going to tell me right here if you did that. Right? A lot of us did survey error. I would say the majority of people did survey and sampling error. And all these other things. So you got to tell me if you made this error. If you did, it's no big deal. I'm pretty sure all of you made a lot of these errors. So just explain how you made that error, and then that would be how you complete this assignment. So if you have any questions, please email me or let me know before the end of the week.